Hi, this is Daniel Krosick from Tightrope, and thank you for joining us today for our Peg Experts webinar. I'm here introducing the webinar, and then Igor Snyder will be presenting the webinar. He's with Creative Mileage, and I'll get to talking about them in just a second. Before I do, I just want to talk a little bit about why we're doing these webinars and what's going on at Tightrope. We started doing these PEG expert forums a little while ago because we wanted to provide folks in the PEG community with information about systems and products that were developed for their needs, even if they're from new startup companies that don't really have a marketing budget or presence to see all of these stations in person at conferences or have their own large mailing list. So we did it to give a leg up to the folks who are serving this group, and often those folks are either coming out of the PEG community themselves or working directly with a station in the PEG community who's looking for specific things to be accomplished. We're also covering things that aren't really products, systems like Internet Archive. We're going to be talking about their community media archive and some really cool stuff going on there in future webinars. And sometimes we'll even talk about our own products. Today we're going to be talking about Creative Mileage's build. Before I get to that, I just want to tell you we've been building a lot on our end. We've actually done a complete rebuild of Cablecast user interface, and we put it off at NAB, and we've been doing some beta tests with some customers. And we expect to release it to everybody in either a couple months or at the most, actually a couple weeks or a couple months. Cablecast 6 has some pretty major changes. Everything is actually refreshed inside the browser and not on the server, so things are much, much faster. Everything dynamically resizes to fit the screen, whether you're on a really big screen or a small screen, a phone screen, a tablet screen. We have a new streaming and VOD website, which I'll show you just for a second, which makes it really easy to provide a very attractive site to the public without any extra work. And the new scheduling interface brings a lot of stuff that people have been asking for years, specifically undo, redo, copy and paste in multiple places at the same time, search on multiple parameters. So just to show you real fast, here's a heads up of what that interface looks like for the schedule. Again, this will be out real soon, and we'll be able to start upgrading folks. And you'll see that as I shrink it down, it shows less information, so you can see what it would show on a smaller screen. And we also have the new public site, which shows the schedule, what's coming up on the channel, recently added content, and then folks can actually watch those videos even right through that site. We also have a lot of folks doing custom stuff on their own website. So anyway, we're happy to talk with you at any time about what we're doing. But today's webinar is actually to help you guys learn about stuff that's being done elsewhere in the community that overlaps with a lot of our customers. So I'm gonna pass the reins over to Michelle in just a minute to introduce you to what's going on with the webinar and how we're going to take questions and whatnot. Before I just want to tell you about Igor and Creative Mileage. They're a company that I've known for a while now. Met them when they were working with San Jose Creativity, a Tightrope customer and a community media center that a lot of folks know, who wanted to have an application built for their specific needs, but something that could be sold to other community media centers and meet their needs. And it's great to see things that are coming out of the community and built to specifically meet our needs. And so following what they've been doing, seeing them at conferences on the West Coast and seeing them reach out to stations around the country, and happy to give them this chance to talk with everybody and explain what they have, and then, of course, answer the questions. So with that in mind, I'm going to transfer over to Michelle, who will explain the process. And I'm going to
Hello, I'm
available
Michelle.
if there's any questions for me later at the end of the presentation.
Thank you, Daniel. I'm Michelle Ali Murati. I'm the Marketing and Communications Coordinator at Tightrope, and thank you all for joining us for this webinar today, the PEG Experts Forum series. And thanks, Daniel, for talking a bit about our upcoming Cablecast 6.0 release that will be coming out hopefully very soon, and we're really excited about it. And there will also be a couple of webinars after that release to help with training and adjustment to the new interface for folks who are already Cablecast users, or for people who will be starting to use Cablecast with the newest version for the first time. So you can get updates about those about the upcoming release and also about other webinars by contacting me. I'll go ahead and put my email address in the chat window later. Or signing up, you can go to trms.com and sign up for updates there as well. So before we get to the presentation, I want to let people know we're going to go ahead and let Igor present uninterrupted, and then at the end we'll address questions. We do want your input, and as you think of questions, feel free to put them in the questions box. You don't have to wait till the end to enter them. Just put them in as you think of them, and then as soon as the presentation is over, we'll go through the list and try to get to everyone's questions. And we will be recording this as well, so if there's anything you miss, you can go back and review it later. If it's just, a slide, you had a question about going back to a previous feature that was mentioned or something like that. We will have that recording available on our YouTube channel, and I'll go over those details again at the end of the webinar so that everybody's clear about where to find things. So without further ado, I will turn it over to Igor.
Hi, my name is Igor. I'm from Creative Mileage. We're a web application firm here in Silicon Valley in California. We create web applications for different industries in the U.S., whether they're product or service industries. Media Center Manager has been built for the tech community with the help of Creative, just like Dan said, and also various other community centers and their feedback. But we aren't only limited to web applications. We also do website development. We built Creative's website, and we're also currently building other media centers' websites here in California currently. Another one of our products that we offer to centers is Quest Pro. It's a help desk ticketing system that centers can use for their IT department. So if there's anything that they want to communicate internally or regarding their equipment, we also offer that ticketing system as well. But today I'm just going to talk about Media Center Manager, MCM, for this webinar, and I will dive right in. This is the login screen to MCM. You can access MCM one in three ways, either as a member of the center, as a staff person, or as a super administrator. The differences between a super admin and a staff person is that a staff person can't manage another staff person's account. A super admin has full access to everything. I'm going to go ahead and log in as a super admin, but before I do, I just want to clarify one point that the point of MCM is that members will be able to do things on their own. They'll be able to register for your center on their own online. They'll be able to place reservations on their own, sign up for classes, renew memberships year to year. So this will leave a lot of time for staff to do other more important things that they would otherwise have to focus on. Before I log in, this is the registration screen. This is how a member can log in for your center or register for your center. Again, this is customizable. Things can be non-mandatory, and we can change stuff around. But these are some of the demographical questions that they can enter for reporting. We have a please upload proof of residence feature, and just some of the general things that a member would see when they're signing up for the center. So if I log in as a super administrator, MCM automatically opens the dashboard. Right above the dashboard is a quick reminders box. This allows your staff to see everything that's happened since the last time they logged in, and anything that's pending from them that a member may have submitted, such as project proposals, reservation, course registrations if they're signing up for classes. Any new members who have signed up for a class or for your center will appear right here, and any volunteer registrations who have submitted a form for an advertisement created by the person who's logged in. I'll show all of these in just a few minutes, but right from the screen, the staff person can directly click, for example, when a new member signs up, right on the person's name, and be directed to the approval page and approve that member right away. depending on whether or not they're a paid membership or if it's a free membership, they'll be either directed to a payment screen, or after approval, they'll immediately gain access to MCM and can use any of the multiple functions and services that your center offers. This is quickly just the dashboard. It allows the staff person to see everything that's going on in all of these top menus in a one-page view, so that if they need to get something or to something very quickly, they can just scroll down. This is like projects and productions that members are working on. They can see the different statuses that they're in, and just directly go to it and jump to whatever they need to do. Now I'm going to begin with the members. The members are the most important thing. Without them, you can't do anything. So, of course, if the member submits a registration form after approval, they'll gain access. But if for whatever reason they call and ask a staff person for help, the staff person can just go to the membership section and click on the member list. Once they click on the member list, they'll have the Add to Member button, and they'll be able to provide the basic stuff such as their username, passwords. They can approve them right away and be able to add them to any of the different memberships that your center may offer. Now, this is all just test data. All of these are created under the membership management section. You have the option to create group memberships. You can set maximum limitations for how many members per group. You can set individual memberships, and basically offer those types of different options for your members to sign up for your center, whether paid or free. Now, if a member has signed up for the center, they are doing different activities in MCM. They're signing up for courses, they're placing equipment reservations, and doing different types of things. All of these are recorded under member transactions. If you can imagine 30, 40, 50 people using the system at one time, whether they're making free or paid transactions, MCM is recording this all in real time, and all of this is available to management as a report whenever they need to. This is our main central reporting section, and a report can be generated at any given time. In addition to providing a report on all of your members and any of the different criteria that's offered as a filter, you can search for different members and select reports in any way you'd like. You would just download the CSV and it downloads to your local hard drive, and you can take that with you anywhere you'd like. In addition to a full report download, you can also provide a report on one individual member. You can provide reports on what projects they've ever had. You can provide a report on what certifications they've been awarded, what courses they've taken, what reservations they've taken or had, and any payments that they've made. And again, all of this is available here, and you can also, it's similar to this where you would just download it as a CSV. We also, in regards to membership, have a way to communicate with your members in a mass scale. So this is our mass mail communication section. We have multiple ways that you can communicate with your members. This is where you would just type in the content, the different communication that you would send out, but who you would be sending out would be chosen here. You can select all, which would send to everyone, regardless of whether they're active, inactive. It would just find their email address and send to everyone. You can search by an individual's name or their last name, or multiple criteria as well. So if you want to find members who belong to a certain certification or have a certain certification, or if you want to email members who belong to a certain class or have taken a certain course, or even take it a step further and want to find everyone who belongs to this class but is on the waiting list, you can send an email communication to anyone who's a part of that belongs to any kind of membership, or if they're inactive or active, or even if you want to target your seniors or your youth based on whether they give a birth date on the registration form. If they're doing a specific project, you can add it here. We've added this section here. It's similar to the project communication section, which I'll show in a second, but we added it here so that in addition to all these other filters, you can also send to a specific project. If you have an organization or a group membership that you have in mind that you want to include in the communication, you can add their name here. Or any members who have registered for your center from this date to that date, or are expiring from this date to that date, it'll provide a list of all the recipients which you can add to this communication. And of course, as an added benefit, you can add staff and super administrators to the communication as well if you'd like to see the email. You can upload an attachment, schedule the email blast for any time in the future, and what happens is when the email server hits that date and time, all of the recipients' emails get released and the communication gets sent out as a mail blast. So this is just a way for the center within MCM to communicate with all of their members based on the different criteria that is relevant to the PEG community. Now, the other item that the member could do once they have registered is they can submit project or production proposals. When they submit a project or production proposal from home, it gets submitted to staff members. They're notified by email, of course, that there's a project waiting there for their approval. But once the staff approve it, it's in active mode, and what happens then is that the member is allowed to place reservations for equipment that your center offers. This allows management at the end of the year to see what's the reason the equipment is going out for. This is available as reports. Of course, you can see, why the reservation is going out for which types of projects, for which members, and so on. So before I jump into volunteering, which is the other thing, so to create a reservation, you can click on click to reserve. You can go to the top menu here to the reservation screen or to any of the available equipment that the center offers here, such as individual, kids, packages, or studio and facility reservations. Now, if the member doesn't have access to the internet or can't do it from home for whatever reason, of course, they can call the center and ask for help. The staff can just click reservations, click on create reservation, and ask if the member has a project or not. We also provide a general reservation category. All this does is for those centers who would not like to provide a project system to their members, this is just like a catch-all bucket where all reservations are in a general category. If you use the specific project category, as the staff person, you would just ask the member what their name is and just begin typing the first few letters of their name, and it automatically appears. Once it appears, all of their approved projects that the center has already approved for that time frame will appear in the drop down below. The staff would just select that project that they want to associate the equipment with and click proceed. This is the reservation cart screen. This is where you can add any of the individual equipment, packages, kits, or facilities to the cart. So for example, if you want to reserve a studio for this member and the member says, I'd like to reserve it for a certain date and time, before even adding it to the cart, you can click on check availability calendar, and what that does is it opens up a calendar view, and the staff and the member from home can actually see if other members have submitted a reservation for that date and time for that studio. So if they tell the staff that, I'm interested in the 14th, the staff would just click the 14th, and it would list all of the reservations here for that staff person to see. And basically, if it coincides with the date and time that the member wants, it would be a booking conflict, and MCM will not allow them to proceed. If they pick a date and time that's free or open, MCM will not write any errors and allow the person to proceed with the reservation. When they're ready and all the dates and times add up, they would just click Add to Cart, and that facility or studio is added to their reservation cart. From this screen, you can continue adding other equipment to the cart. But when you're ready, you can just click Proceed and be taken to the page where you select the date and time for the pickup and drop-off time. Here on this screen, you have one more chance to see whether the item is available or hasn't been booked by any other member. If it has, this would be hyperlinked, and it would just appear with a list showing all of the dates and times that the item is booked for. So it just allows the staff one more chance to see in case they skipped the calendar. They would pick the booking pickup date with the date picker. So if they would want it on the 8th at 11 o'clock and they want to return it on the 8th at 12 o'clock, they would select the dates and times, and the staff can automatically approve it from the member right from here, or they can leave it in pending mode if they would like another staff person to review it for whatever reason. Once they click approve, let's do the The reservation is automatically created. Now, it's currently in awaiting payment mode because there's a price associated with the studio. So if you charge for your studios, this is what the status will be. If it's free, it would automatically go into pending checkout. So if we go back to the reservation screen and we filter all of the reservations by pending checkout, these are all the reservations that are currently waiting to be checked out. Most of them are $0 amounts because the system automatically skips the payment screen. Now the staff is waiting for the member to come into the center and pick up the equipment or start using the facility or the studio. They would just click on the update button and scroll down. If it's not a studio reservation, if it's something else, and the member says, I'm not interested in this item, the staff can just simply uncheck that item while keeping everything else checked and process the reservation without something that the member may not want at that time. Of course, you would need one item to still stay checked in order to click the checkout button, and the reservation is automatically processed into checked out mode. Once the item is checked out, the member actually has the equipment or the studio in their possession, and the system is waiting for them to bring it back. So when they're finished with it, the staff would just do the same thing. They would open up that member's reservation, click the update button, and also return it into the inventory. When they do that, all of the availability check calendars, everything, the booking calendars are updated automatically, and all other members won't see this as the reservation at that time and can continue with their own reservations. In addition to the reservation flow that I just showed, we also offer holiday management. So if your center observes a holiday, we've created a way that you can enter the holiday, and MCM will block any members requesting to pick up equipment on that holiday or drop off equipment on that holiday. MCM will generate an error saying, the center is closed for Christmas, please adjust your drop-off time. We also have the reservation calendar system, which allows each and every center to customize the reservation system to their own policies. So if the system or if the center is closed on a Monday, MCM, you can close off the entire reservation system on Mondays or any given day of the week. In addition to just a weekly calendar, it allows you to set operational hours for your reservation system. So if your center is open from, let's say, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., anyone making a reservation and wants to drop off equipment at 5:30 is going to be blocked, and the error will say, if the center closes at 5, please adjust your drop-off time. So this gives the customization to the center. Of course, every center is different, so all of these will be different. We also have, I wanted to give you guys a sneak peek, in the reservation list, every reservation provides their members a receipt. So when you click on the download a reservation receipt, this receipt can be given to the member. It includes all of their project information, all of their reservation information, what equipment, what prices they have, and also down here we've created a way that you can customize this white area to include any rental policies or terms and conditions that your center offers. This is just an example that I typed up, but of course this can be anything that the super administrator wants it to be. In equipment, when adding equipment, this is the equipment inventory. This is where all of your equipment, reservable or not reservable, will show. But whether you're updating an item or whether you're adding something brand new, if you scroll to the very bottom of the Add New feature, we have what's called maximum reservation duration. So if you'd like to, if you have a studio that you require to be reserved only 3 days at a time, or 4 days at, or I'm sorry, 1 day at a time, or if you have equipment like a camera, if you have that requires to be 3 days at a time, you can set that restriction, and MCM will prompt anyone that exceeds that time, letting them know that they've exceeded the time allotted for the reservation, and it'll let them know right there and then on the reservation screen what that is, so they can update the reservation while they're on that screen. Other things that you can do with the project once the project proposal is submitted and approved is create crew positions for the center. Members can add crew positions. They can add crew members to their projects. They can also request volunteers. Instead of asking a staff person if they know of any people interested in volunteering, or if they know if they have a bulletin board that they can look out. Members can now create volunteer advertisements which can be viewed by any member that is interested in volunteering. It is sent and applied by other members, and the entire advanced volunteer system is all member-to-member. They seek their own members, they communicate with their own members. There's absolutely no staff intervention, but of course, as you can see, I'm logged in as staff, so staff can manage every volunteer advertisement, delete anything that they need to, update anything. Staff and super admins have full control of all member activity. We have another feature called project communication, which allows members to communicate with one another when they belong to a project. They would be able to see all of the crew members in their project, they would be able to see all the volunteers in their project, and be able to communicate with one another without having to take any kind of member personal information and taking it to another system or another email system that they have. So everything stays within the secure environment of MCM. This is our training menu. This is where courses and classes are shown. This is the course list section. This is where staff actually create the courses. We, of course, have a calendar view because a lot of members have requested that they would like to register, view courses in a calendar view, and register for courses through a calendar view. If you select the date and time that the class is offered, you can see the dates and times. You can click directly on that date, and you can register for it right from the calendar page. If the staff, or when the staff person wants to create classes, they would just click create course. They can add prerequisites, they can add add certifications. Any certifications that your center offers that would appear from this menu would appear here. Any previous courses that your center offered can also be a prerequisite. You can set certifications for this course that's being created. You can provide different fees. It can be, of course, 0, which is free. And we also have the course registration limit and waitlist feature. So if you require that your course have a maximum of, let's say, 10 people, you would type in 10 here, and after, if there's no waitlist, MCM will stop all registration after 10 people have signed up for the class. If you do want a waitlist, we offer different kinds of waitlists. We offer an automated one or a manual one, in which case the automated one would allow members to pick and choose which classes they can sign up for if one of the original 10 people canceled. The manual one would give that power to the staff, and the staff can choose who they would like to add. Once you're ready to, with your course that's created, let me just pick one that's already created to show you. The staff also have the ability to set different classes per course. So if you want, you can create a class that has, let's say, 3 courses or 4 classes in it. Of course, it could just be one. In addition to that, we have a recurrence feature, which allows, if you've used like Outlook or any kind of meeting manager application, you can create a class that happens every week or every month, and you create it one time, and it'll be available for your members to select from without having to create it multiple times. You can create different instructors, different class locations if you have multiple buildings around the area. This is our equipment certification page. You can add different certifications associated with different equipment, and basically if members don't have those certifications, they won't be able to process their reservation because they won't even have the ability to select the date and time. MCM will just block them and let them know that they're not certified to place a reservation for that item. If for whatever reason there's someone that wants to skip the course section, it's up to the staff person. If you want, a staff person can instantly certify someone. They would just go to the member certification section. Of course, that is left up to the staff person to decide. This is our reporting section. Again, it's all very, these are the reports that are offered in all of these sections. All of them have advanced search options, so you can change this table below to view and print a report based on any kind of criteria that you would like. This is the settings menu. This is for super administrators. This lets you create different departments. It lets you add staff to your department, and it also lets you manage other things such as mail notifications. Now, in MCM, there's a little bit over 30 automatic mail notifications. These are triggered every time an action happens based on a member or a staff person. So, for example, if a new member just registered, or a new project was just submitted, or a volunteer has just applied, MCM automatically creates and generates an email that is sent to the correct party. This saves a lot of time for staff members doing administrative tasks that they would otherwise have to do, sending thank yous or reminders. MCM will take care of all of that. In addition, a super administrator can go to any of these types of mail notifications, click on the update button, and right from here they can update the different content and select different groups of staff to be able to select. It's very flexible, and every center has the option to create the different notification language that they would like for their center. These are just some of the settings that each center can set up for themselves. They can set up different payment gateways. They can set up the different, this is the payment gateways. They can create terms and conditions for either membership terms and conditions, and so on. Aside from MCM, we also have data migration. So if your center currently uses a database application, we can migrate it to MCM. But don't worry, even if you don't have a database dump file or anything like that, we can accept Excel files or any kind of format that you would like to provide information on your members, equipment, any kind of history that you would like to migrate into MCM. We can do that, no problem. We also have website integration. So it acts. There's two different options. The standard option is to have your members access it through a portal through the website, like a link or a button, and they'll basically be logging into MCM as you see it on the screen. The website integration, which some centers opt for, what it does is if you have a current website, our design team adapts the MCM interface to your website. So the colors, the text, the font size, everything is adapted to how your website looks, and so the brand of your media center stays within MCM, and to the member, when they're on your website, they stay on your website. They're not directed anywhere else, so everything is on your website. We also have, and lastly, I just want to go over, we also have a tech support. Tech support is very important to MCM. Each staff person will have the ability to, and an account with our tech support software. This is a completely different software that we've integrated with MCM for your staff to have the ability to communicate with our technical team. We have a fairly large technical team of about 25 employees and growing, and every ticket, help desk ticket that's created right here is tracked to completion and escalated to management if needed. You can view all the tickets here, open and closed, and you can even add tickets to a watch list. These are usually for very important tickets, such as, or anything that a staff person wants to track, and anytime our technical team updates it, the staff get an email saying that their ticket has been updated with what the update was, and they can log in and check anytime. So this, of course, is available to all staff. There's a lot of features that due to the time, I am not able to go over, but I do want to invite anyone to come to our website, My Media Center Manager. If you haven't already done so, here you can browse through all the different features that MCM offers, and contact us if you'd like, or more importantly, at the very bottom, let's just jump right down there, request a demo from our team. If you would like to have a private demo for your staff or for yourself, feel free to fill out this form and we'll get back to you ASAP, and yeah, be happy to give you a demo and answer any of the questions that you may have. Michelle, I just wanted to ask, do we have any questions possibly from anyone? Or
We do. Thank you, Igor. And I'll also mention, because I forgot to mention this at the beginning, that because you mentioned features, there are some handouts available if you haven't already noticed those in your GoToWebinar widget there. That there are some handouts available for download. One has contact information for Creative Mileage folks for Igor, and I don't know if you have anybody else on there, Igor. And then there's also one that has a list of Media Center Manager features, and then there's another one for the Zeta Pro product. I don't know if you had mentioned that one.
Yeah, so the Zeta Pro product is directly related to the website. So if you take a look, we've customized it for the PEG community so that if you're looking to do anything with your website, we also we're currently doing that for a lot of centers in California, but also it's just something for you to take a look at. And if you down the line are interested, feel free to contact us. We'll be happy to help.
Right. So I wanted to give people a little bit of context on what that is and why they would maybe want to take a look at it. And that is, again, in the handouts section. We do have a few questions. We'll start with Erica, who has a question about whether or not you can integrate MCM with Google or Apple Calendar.
Yeah, we're the courses we're working on. We've had the request from some centers to integrate Google Calendar, so we are working on that at the moment.
Great. Thank you for your question, Erica. And the next question is from Debbie Rogers. Is there a reservation view like what they have in Facile, where you can see a particular asset availability at a glance, like for a week or a month? Are you familiar with that view?
I'm not entirely familiar with the Facile view, but here I'll go back to the MCM screen. All of these equipment categories have a booking calendar that you can see the booking availability for. So for example, if we go back to studios, and if you offer a studio at your center for reservations or for rentals, you can click on any of these and click on the availability column, which will open up a calendar view. So if it's booked for a specific date or time, it'll show here that it's booked. Let me see for under individual equipment. I think, so for example, if this is all of the different individual equipment that your center offers, if you found a specific item that you're interested for and you click check availability, it'll show that this item is booked for different days of the week during the month, and if you clicked on one of them, it'll show you what the dates and times are immediately. To the member, they won't be able to look who it belongs to or what project it's related to. They'll just be able to see that it's booked for that date and time, and that they'll have to kind of work around that date and time in order to process the reservation.
Hey, Debbie, so I hope that addresses your question. It's been a while since I've looked at the Facile interface myself, but I think that that's pretty similar. We have a little bit longer question from Vicky, so I'll go slow. She wants to know, they work in an educational setting and they're interested in a reservations section, and they have several edit suites and a studio and a room facility section that could be programmed for class hours or blocks of time. She wants to know if you can give an example of how it might be used for that setting.
Well, again, like if you have a classroom or a room in the center that you want to use and you want it to be reserved out at a time, you could just add it to the facility section that could be reserved out. We also have like class locations, so if you have multiple areas, multiple rooms within the center, any classrooms, any kind of classroom information, the room number, who the instructor to it is, would be available through here and will be available as an option when members or students are signing up for courses. I don't know if that helps answer the question.
So Vicky, if you want a little bit more information, or you can ask a follow-up question in the questions box if that doesn't quite get at what you were asking. But Vicky also had another question that was already in, asking about integrating Media Center Manager reservation information into Tightrope digital signage, so in Carousel, So Daniel, I don't know if you can weigh in on this, to be able to display the reservation information within a carousel channel.
Yeah. Hey, sorry, just coming off of mute. So Carousel has ways to display different calendar information. It can be entered directly in the carousel, or it can display iCal. It can take stuff from a couple other existing event systems like Teen Evans or Exchange Server. And then there's an API. So if it's something where that information is being synced to something else like iCal or Google Calendar that overlaps, then maybe that's the solution. Or it might just be some custom integration we need to do to have it outputted in one of the ways that we already use, or add a new input format. I don't know that that San Jose has tied that in, but it may be something that has come up with other customer Igor's working with.
Great.
So
again,
we're working with Ray. In the moment, the API is currently in, I believe, beta phase, but we're ready. Once it's ready to go, we'll be able to integrate it immediately for any client that uses Tightrope.
Great.
Awesome. So again, Vicky, if you have any follow-ups to those questions, you can just put those in the question box. We have a question from Deb Vinsel. Can a member have more than one type? Like, for instance, producer and a donor. They're interested in donor management, and they are something about board members. I'm not sure what that question is, but I think the main question is, can you have a person listed as multiple types?
We do. We created an ad hoc field so that every center is different. So every center will have different things that they would need to categorize each member with. Aside from them joining any kind of membership name that the center creates, so if you create a membership called producer or board member or anything like that, each member has a field where you can enter in any kind of note or any kind of name that they classify themselves as. I'm not sure how that would, or in what area that should be visible and to whom, but at least to staff and to super administrators, they can categorize each member and view them under each name that is given under that field. So we do have a place where you can name them. You can add multiple names as much as you'd like. But in essence, members can't see other members. One member can't see information about another member due to privacy issues. So we try and keep that only visible to staff members and to super administrators. But yes, to answer your question, you can categorize them in any way you'd like.
Great. Next question is from Robert. Does MCM have membership expiration alerts?
Yes. In addition to different ways that a staff person can view members, whether it's they're expiring today or they've already expired 11 days ago, MCM also sends each member an email 30 days before they expire, letting them know that they're nearing expiration. It also sends them another one 7 days before and on the day of. When they've reached 30 days before their expiration, when a member logs into their account, on their dashboard they have a big red banner that notifies them and lets them know that they're nearing expiration, and if they'd like to renew, that they should do so at any time.
Great. Next question is from Debbie Rogers about the hosting of the data. She's wondering where, if all this data is hosted on an MCM server, what is the capacity? Is there redundancy? You're just kind of wanting to know about the security of the information, since it's not hosted internally like Facile would be.
Yeah, it's all hosted on through a company called iWeb in the cloud. It's a huge corporation. It's very secure. It does have the redundancy, and it also has data backup. So there shouldn't be any worry about any kind of data loss. In addition to having all of that backup in place for every center, you can take your data through a report at any given time of the year, at any time. So everything is very secure, and especially in an online application such as this, we've made sure it's very secure. Yes.
Great. Next question is from Jim. Can you book multiple recurring days and times for reservations? For example, an editing computer from 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, all the time.
Right now, at the moment, there isn't a feature where you can book a recurring. We have a recurring course option, but for reservations, there isn't. You can create the reservations all in advance if you want them, but at the moment, we haven't had that request from a lot of centers. But we haven't really considered it. We're happy to consider any options that anyone requests. But that one specifically hasn't been thought of yet, which is a very good question.
Right, so then I'll ask you the next question about feature requests. So that's something that your current users can just send your way?
We are extremely open to everyone's requests. We've created this with the help of many operations teams. So a lot of different centers across the U.S. have provided feedback and requested certain things to be added to MCM to make it a better product for the pet community. So we are very open to it. We have a tech forum where we consider all of the different requests that are given to us, and those that are approved are basically for the good of all the other pet communities, and we add them into MCM after approval. But yes, we are very open, and we take all requests by any center.
Thank you for taking my question. The next question is from Kat, asking, is this available on all platforms? She asked, was this for PC only or everything? But I believe it's web-based, is it not?
Yeah, this is web-based. So as long as you have an internet browser, you can open it up on anything.
Yeah. Next question is from Deborah Vinsel. Is there a channel scheduling feature? It is integrated with, can be integrated with Cablecast, right?
That would be through the API of the broadcast solution that we integrate for each client.
Okay. Next one is also from Deb Vinsel. Producers are often donors, and we want to track them separately. Is there more to that, Deb? I'm not sure what your question is there. Or was that a follow-up to a previous one? If you could, I think we might have touched on this earlier.
I'm not exactly too clear on that question either.
Okay, yeah, she said that was a reference to a previous question. Did we answer that question for you, Deborah, or do you need further clarification? Just throw that into the question box and we'll get back to it. Right now I'll move on to Robert's question about how complicated is it to migrate your data into MCM?
It's not complicated at all. We've done the migration process for many centers, and whether it's a database dump file that you provide or whether it's just a plain CSV or an Excel file, we do a very good job, and it's a quick turnaround. But we usually do it after all the information is provided to us. We usually ask for anywhere from 48 hours, but that's just for the migration. But to schedule the work within our other work schedules with other centers, it just depends. It could take anywhere from 48 hours to a week.
Okay. Hope that answers your question, Robert. Next question is from Debbie Rogers, or from Tony via Debbie Rogers. When you book a class, does it automatically book the facility space? I guess you would have to associate that space with the class. She's wanting to know if you book a class, would it automatically also book a facility at the same time, or do you need to go in and book the facility and the equipment and the class all separately?
Well, at the moment, how we've done it is a lot of centers typically have classrooms reserved specifically for that topic. It's just that room is just a classroom, and it would be added under the course section as a class location. But if you did want to integrate it with, so that people know that that classroom is actually reserved at this time, it's very simple. You would just add it as a facility, and it's just a few more clicks, and it serves the same function.
Great, and I got a confirmation from Deborah Vinsel that we did answer that question we were curious about before, so she's clear on what she was trying to find out. And I don't see any other questions coming in right now. So maybe, do you have any other features you want to talk about or information you want to talk about? And we can, oh, never mind. Now we have a couple that came in while I was saying that. Jim has a question about, is there updated information somewhere on the cost of the system and any accessories?
Yeah, absolutely. And I recommend this to everyone. If you go to the website, what you could do is, what you can do is you can click the sign up button. On the first page, it'll ask you for a few questions, like how many members does your center cater to? Would you like migration? You know, what broadcasting solution you use? Just some basic questions. And on the next page, it will offer different packages, offer different features, and you are free to select anything, checkbox, uncheck it, and what happens is the price automatically changes right in front of the screen, which gives you a great idea about the needs that your center has and the cost that will be associated with it for MCM.
We have a question from Robert. Can you add attachments to a mass mailing?
Yeah, absolutely. In the mass mail section, when you click on the mass mail, regardless of what recipient list you use, you can upload an attachment. It would just search for all the files in your local hard drive.
Okay. And Debbie Rogers is wondering if you can do a mail merge directly from MCM, or if you need to like download a file and then do it through a different program.
No, this is directly connected to the members that are in MCM that are for the center. It's the mass mail section is just for a center to communicate with its members directly.
So you can't do a mass mail campaign to your members?
No, you can. You can't like upload an external file and then migrate different people that are unrelated to the center, or maybe all it does is it pulls from the member list, from the staff list, all the group memberships, everything within the environment of MCM.
No, I think what she's asking is like a mail merge, as in where you can customize fields for the mass mailing. So like you would be able to have certain areas that are specific to that member, like having a name field and maybe a place that refers to their specific program that's automated, like you would do through Microsoft Word.
You can search for people by name. I don't know if that's. You can also search by the different productions or projects that they're doing as well.
I think maybe we should have Debbie just contact you after the webinar, and you all could.
Yeah, absolutely.
Discuss
Debbie,
that.
if you'd like to meet with me, I'd be happy to answer your questions.
Okay. Next question is from Kat. So if the internet is down, then is the system also down? And does that mean that members have to have internet access?
Yeah, I mean, if the internet is down, this is an online application. It's not on a desktop or a local hard drive that just needs power. I mean, it's in the cloud, so it does rely on having a internet connection.
And then Deb Vinsel wants to know, can you download a CSV file of the data?
Yeah, absolutely. In every report section and the central reporting menu, anything like, for example, if you take the members option, you would just click on full report download and then scroll down here, and here's the download CSV. You would just click it and it would download to your local hard drive with all of the data that's shown down here. And of course, if you want to filter it in any way with that taking into account those different filters, it would print the report based on that. I do want to share that there are a lot of other features that MCM has that is relevant to the PEG community that due to the time I wasn't able to show. So I would love to invite anyone who's interested to come to the website, request a demo. It's a one-on-one online demo with you and your staff, and I can show you the full application, all of the different features, and answer any of the questions that you or your staff have at any time. So I'm just going to open up the contact form here. I also invite you to watch the MCM video at any time. That's also included in the flyer or in the one of the PDFs. So if anyone would like to download that and keep that for themselves, you can access the video and the website at any time. And of course, if there's any questions whatsoever, please feel free to contact me anytime. I'll be happy to help.
And I want to remind everyone that this is part of a series of webinars that we do, this PEG Experts Forum, so we will have future ones. If this is your first one and you want to make sure that you are going to receive notifications about all the future events, you can email me. I'm putting my email address in the chat window right now. And if you have any other questions, again, feel free to email me. Daniel, did you have any last parting words?
Yeah, I have nothing left to say.
All right.
Take care, all.
So thank you, everybody. And we'll see you next time on the PEG Experts Forum.
Bye.
Bye-bye.